Webster Ace Hardware and Farm Supply are generous sponsors for today's podcast. They have been a family-owned business for 27 years. This helpful hardware store sells items such as archery, Ariat clothing and boots, Wrangler jeans, case knives, Hammond's candies, and live fishing gear. They also have a full selection of hardware, RV supply, propane, Ben Moore, Royal & Clark, and Kingston paints. You need a barn or fencing job done? Custom barn kits and roofing metal are provided at your local Ace Hardware store. What about a new grill for the yard? Traeger, Big Green Egg, Weber, and Blackstone are found here, along with all the accessories to go with it. Stock up your workshop with DeWalt, Milwaukee, or Craftsman tools. They got you covered. Remember to go to ace.com to shop their entire line to have items shipped directly to the store. All right, welcome back to another edition of the Goblay Show. I'm your host, Billy Goble, and today we have a special guest. She's a good friend of mine, and her family is a great friend of ours. But before we get started, I just want to introduce Miss Lily McLeer. Lily, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Billy. I'm so excited to be here.
How are you?
I'm doing great, honestly. I have my pageant, Miss Florida, coming up in the next 2 weeks, so I'm getting really ready for that. But overall, I'm doing great. How are you?
You know, it's summertime. It's hot. So thank you for being here early.
Yes.
Because in the studio, we slowly but surely we're getting this all set up, and the insulation has not been made yet. And so you can get it nice and cool in here, and it only lasts for about 20 to 30 minutes.
Right. That Florida heat, it kicks in.
Are you doing anything like this summer? Like before we get into your big things, but like, have you done anything so far? Because I know school just got out about a couple weeks ago.
Yes. So actually last weekend I was up in New York and I got to experience like pageant coaching from a real supermodel. Her name's Miss Luciera, and she taught me all these different turns and how to walk properly and hold my posture. So that was a really cool experience. She has worked for the Miss USA and the Miss America programs before. She's a great role model. So I got to go up to New York and have a coaching lesson with her. So I really learned a lot from that. But that's been my main thing. Other than that, I've just been slowly working on preparing for Miss Florida. Now,
you know, and I know you also do pictures and stuff. So you do really, really, really great work. I've seen your stuff, and as a former photographer, I can actually say that you do really well. And I sometimes I like to, you know, I want to encourage you, but I don't want you to settle for being, you know, what you think you are right now. But I want you to continue what you're doing. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
But continue to keep pushing forward, because there's an old phrase, never settle. Never settle for what you are or what you're doing, because you just never know when the next turn there might be something even waiting for you around the corner that could be very, very beneficial for you and the rest of your life or career.
Yes, thank you. I'm actually looking forward to, so recently I've been doing a little bit of research. So when we went to our orientation, our candidates day, all that for Miss Florida, it was up in Lakeland, and at the hotel we were staying at, they had little pamphlets in like the brochure box at the hotel. And one of them was the Lakeland Flying Tigers. It's the Detroit Tigers minor league team based in Florida. It was their schedule, and it was like promoting people to come to their games. So I saw that and I was like, I didn't know we had a minor league team this close to us. So I reached out to their communications director, and I got myself in to take photos at their game next Friday, actually. So I'm going to be at the minor league game taking pictures in the stands. And I also coordinated so I can have a post-game interview with one of the players, or a pre-game interview with one of the players. So I worked it all out. So that's going to be a big check mark on my portfolio to becoming what I want to become in the future.
The best thing about minor league, I'm a not as big as football fan, but I love baseball. And for those people who love baseball, they can tell you that the minor league system is like, you know, the pros are great.
Yeah.
But the pros are great. That's why they're pros.
Yes.
But there's also these minor leaguers that are fighting. Once you get to the pros, yeah, you do have to obtain a batting average. You have to do this. You have to do that. Stay on the roster. But minor league, it's like, you know, you were like fighting. They have such a better outlook, I would say.
Yeah.
Because they have no idea what they're gonna be doing the next week after week.
Yeah.
So I do love the minor league system, and it's so cool to see like future potential.
Yes.
And that's what I love. I love that about not just sports, but even like just individuals like yourself. I love to see this. What I'm saying, like potentially wise, I see so much better for you. You know, like that's what I mean. You should always like look forward to that kind of stuff. So these minor league players are constantly like trying to make themselves better so they can get that next step, whether it's, you know, for that team they're playing for. You never know, because anymore, baseball's weird versus football, because you could be really good and come July, you may not be on that team, that same team that you went to camp and the training camp portion of it, and all this. What I'm over the 100 games or whatever it is, halfway through, whatever, almost 100 games. And you just never know where you're going to be ended up. There's been players where they'll be on the field and they get traded. Yeah. And they call them. I mean, they've already gone out to the field and they get a call from like the manager's like, hey, come here. And they'll send somebody out to replace them. And they won't, they'll tell them, they will tell them what's going on, obviously, but they don't really tell anybody else until like it breaks with ESPN or something. And it's the saddest thing you'll ever see when you see a player traded mid-game on a team that they absolutely loved being with, the guys, the camaraderie. And then all of a sudden they go and they grab their stuff and they leave. There's no, hey, we'll have a goodbye party for you. Yeah. The goodbye party is everybody like either stands and claps and cheers like one last time for that person. It's crazy. Yeah. Baseball is crazy. It's, from what I've learned from it, there's like so much dedication and passion that even comes from just your mindset. So having a situation like that, like being traded mid-game, like that affects your mindset, especially like how you were saying with like not being able to say goodbye to your teammates and all that. Like it's hard. So to be able to just snap back into a totally new team, a totally new environment, it's pretty impressive, honestly. Like shout out to all the baseball players. Like it's impressive. So let's go with every guest, and I wanted to say up front, I think you might be my youngest guest. You and Dana Raybon, are pretty close to my youngest guest on here. But I'm glad to have you on here, by the way. But for any guest I ever have, normally, unless there's a time frame, we like to go back, and I know you're younger, so there's probably not as much to tell. Much back, right? We won't go too far back, but like, are you originally for people who don't know Lily McLeer? Is Florida your home, or are you from somewhere else? No, so actually, I was born in California, and I lived there till I was about 5. And that was the year my brother was born, my sister graduated high school, and my dad was retired from the military. So he served in the Air Force for 24 years. So on his retirement, that whole year, it was 2014, we packed up all our stuff. My sister went to the University of Alabama for college, Roll Tide. And I had to sneak that in there. I know, right? And so then we packed all our stuff up and we moved into a camper van and we traveled across the U.S. and moved to New Hampshire. So for a whole year, I spent traveling. So I got to visit so many of the 50 states. I spent my 5th birthday in Tennessee. But overall, we moved from California to New Hampshire. So polar opposite states. And we spent about a year in New Hampshire, just living there. I got to experience first grade there, got to see some snow, a lot of snow, actually. And then about that time, my dad started getting sick, so we moved back to California to visit with him. And then we stayed back in California for another year. And then after that, my dad's got job openings in Florida. And my mom was like, Florida, like all she can think of is Miami, and that wasn't her vibe. So we come to Florida, she comes and visits, she comes to Sumter County, she comes to Catfish Johnny's. And after that, she was like, oh, yeah, this is where we want to be. Like the small town vibe, the cows, the pastures, like that was everything we were about. So from there, we moved to Florida, and that was about 3rd grade for me. So I'm going into my senior year in high school. So I've been here for a while, and I think I'm going to stay. What school did you attend? Where did you start off? What elementary school? I went to Lake Panasoffkee Elementary. Go Ospreys. So I love it. The principal there was.
Oh yeah, she's pretty cool.
She was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I know her.
Yeah,
very well.
A little bit.
But was it a? Now I know that you were there at a younger age. But was it something like was there a culture shock? Like I. Because I've had my friend Jackie was on here before. She was from based in California. She moved here when she was a little bit older.
Yeah.
So she had a little bit of more experience, with life to kind of, weigh her options of what was with, her like stepping into something new. What was that like for you? Like, was it a big transition? Were you like, because in California, were you like in a suburb or were you in like tell me about that.
So California was definitely more suburb. Sumter isn't that far off from being suburb, but it's definitely way more rural than California was. So from California to Florida, like noticing that difference, I didn't notice it when I was younger, but like looking back on it, definitely. You can tell, like, I didn't know my neighbors when I lived in California and they were 5 feet away from me. But now living in Sumter, like, I feel like I know everyone. And it's sometimes people may not like that, especially someone from a California perspective. Like, I don't want to know everyone. Like, they don't need to know my business. But looking at Sumter County, like, we have such a tight-knit community. It really helps, like, especially with the passion that I have and all the things that I want to do, especially in the pageant world. Having that support and having that community changes everything. Without Sumter County, like, I wouldn't even be here. I started in the Sumter County pageant system. So from there, like, having this community and knowing my neighbors really is way more positive than living in the suburbs.
Well, yeah, there's a lot to be said about that. You can when you go somewhere like that, I feel like you lose your sense of like reality with people. Like if you live in a suburb, and so a suburb to me is like a cookie cutter. Every house looks the same, and they may not be the same inside, but outside they look all, if you watch movies out in these huge suburbs out west in California, I can think of like Encino Man or like E.T. where it was filmed out there, and there was in these big suburbs, all the houses look the same. Yeah. But to me, it just didn't give you any kind of personal. Like there was no, I don't know, there was no like your independent style or whatever, however you want to say that. But I think it also gives you like a false sense of reality. Yeah. Like you're kind of like you go home, and it's no different if you live in an apartment. Well, there's like 1,000 other people that live there in this apartment complex, but you don't know any of those people. So it's like, do they really even exist? Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure people live there, but you don't know any of those people. You just want to come home, and you when you put your key in the lock, you're looking around to see if anybody's followed you home, Yeah, I feel like you're kind of in like a little bubble there, and it's just, especially if you're in like an apartment style, like you're in a little bubble. But with our small town, like I feel like that bubble's wider. Like you have people within your circle that you're happy to surround yourself with, like people that have the same passions as you and all that. Just so much you can find from getting to know your community and getting to know your neighbors. Like it's just such a positive environment we live in. Going back to what you said about Sumter County pageant, and now you did win Miss, which one was it? I was Junior Miss Sumter County 2022 and Sumter County Princess 2019. Okay. So I knew that you had won at least one title. Yes. Because I don't think I knew you before the first, the first one. I don't think I was on the scene yet. Right. So, I mean, I was here, but I didn't know you. Yeah. But what was that like, the experience of you can tell people like what it's like to be like because you guys are ambassadors of the county. Yeah. That's the way I look at it. You represent our county. And what was that whole experience like both times? Like I know the first time was probably more magical because you had never experienced that before. But what was it like, the first and second time going into there and what you experienced? Honestly, my time serving as Junior Miss Sumter County was one of the best times I've ever had. I had such a great group of sister queens with me. I'm still in contact with every single girl that was a sister queen because you have 4 other girls. Like it's a group of 5, and it's
from Miss Sumter County, teen, junior, princess, and little Miss Sumter County. Like, you just get to spend the whole year with those 5 girls and spending that time in all these events. And I've learned so much from it. Like, truly, I was very young. I was about 12. So I didn't know. I wasn't the biggest public speaker then. So it taught me a lot about public speaking, and I've grown so much from it. But overall, you truly are an ambassador for your community. You're at the fair all week, which is a huge deal. That's the biggest event of being a Sumter County Queen. You're at the fair every day. And then you get to be in all the Christmas parades and all that. But my biggest takeaway from that whole year was actually the day I gave my crown up. So as a reigning queen, you do a talent to perform, like to take some time away while the other contestants are getting ready. So the year you pass down your crown, you passing it down, you can't compete. So that year I was doing my talent and I was going to do an Irish dance. As you know, my dad is Irish and my sister, she used to do Irish dance. So me and her, we choreographed a little Irish dance to the cool song. Like, it was really special to me. But 2 weeks before that, someone had sent me a video of some guy Irish dancing, and they were like, oh, this is so you. And it was like, I don't think they meant any harm by that comment, but it truly affected me because it kind of like embarrassed me about the Irish dance. Like, I was in middle school, like it's already a hard time.
Awkward phase.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, oh, like I was so embarrassed. It was 2 weeks before the pageant and I cried to my mom. I was like, there's no way I'm doing this Irish dance. Like, even like, to me, like, I wish I had done it. Like, I wish I'd gotten bigger into it because it's such a bonding moment between me and my sister, but I couldn't do the dance. So we whipped up real quick a big old speech about bullying and how it affects you. And especially like to all my friends that were in the audience, like they're all in middle school too. Like, they're probably dealing with the same things that I am. And there's a lot of unspoken like issues that people are dealing with that they just need someone up there with a platform to relate with. And so that's who I was going to be. And so from there, I spoke about bullying and I spoke about how you shouldn't treat other people like that, like from a personal standpoint, because I was a role model. Like, I need to be a good role model. And I was reminding people I'm human too, but I still need to be a good role model. But anyways, and I spoke about how it affected me and how I'm going to overcome it. And that night, a little girl came up to me after the pageant and she said, I'm going to start competing in the Sumter County pageant because of you. And she told me that because of my speech, like, she resonated with it. She felt real. Like, she wasn't like cheerleader like how I am, but she wanted to start competing in pageants because there's a little bit of a misconception about pageants that you have to be like Miss America, like the perfect cookie cutter, blonde, tan, all those things. But it's truly not the case. And so she felt that my speech related to her and she was able to connect and feel seen. So from that, she started competing and she did really well her year after, and I got to come watch her. So it was just really special having that platform and having that ability from being in the pageant world that I was able to connect and relate to a younger girl and help her feel seen.
You know, I've mentioned bullying on here before, and sometimes, and I'd like to get your opinion on this, but you know, a lot of people tend to when they send stuff like that on social media and stuff, and this is no way like condoning bullying or anything, but I don't think, I will say half the people that send stuff like that, they send it without intention of like any malice or anything. Like your friend that sent you that and said, oh, this is so you. Yeah. Now, you didn't take it that way. You thought of it as, and that's okay. That's fine. But that's the thing is we don't understand. You know, I didn't learn a lot about other cultures until I went and worked at Disney. Yeah. And they teach you, I don't know if they do that now, but they took the time to teach us about different cultures. I didn't know that. I can't remember which country it is, but if you give somebody the thumbs up, it's like give them the bird. So that's what I'm saying. Like you wouldn't think anything of that, but you offended somebody. You didn't even know it. So there's that comparison, but also a lot of great people have done things because they were pushed a little bit harder. And like I said, I'm not condoning anything, but there have been some athletes who were bullied in school. And I don't think This is my own opinion.
Yes.
I don't think they would have been as successful unless that happened to them.
Yes.
So I think things happen to us obviously for a reason. And that might have been that comment to you snowballed into this speech who helped that girl.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. It doesn't, no matter what happens, good or bad, there's always a plus or a minus on everything. So it just depends on how you look at things.
Yeah, truly. So you brought up two really good points. So for the first point, like the social media, like being behind the screen, like I totally see that every day. Like my whole platform through the Miss America program is about social media. And it's a very controversial topic because a lot of people see that bullying and that cyberbullying. And truly, like social media, you can see both sides. There's so many positives to it. You learn so much, like all these things. But like how we're saying, like there's a screen that people are behind. They don't have to see you face to face. So even if they mean malintentions, like they can say those malintentions because they're just typing it out. So truly, it has its cons, social media does. But and then also how you were saying with those athletes that get pushed just a little bit harder, and just like myself, like everything happens for a reason. But from an athletic perspective, like sometimes those people having doubts on you, like it pushes you to work harder. Like,
absolutely.
That's what I've learned. Like I wasn't really an athlete up until this year, but being behind the scenes, taking those photos, like I saw that like people being doubted and just using that as fire to fuel them to work harder. And so definitely from an athletic standpoint, like that fuel, like you need that fuel just to have that like lingering at the back of your head, like to prove yourself almost. And so definitely from an athletic standpoint, like I totally agree with that. So yeah, the overall.
You know, I know you know who Dolly Parton is. So Dolly Parton, there's this, she's such an amazing woman.
Right.
And giftful songwriter, like very talented. She's wrote, you know, I would say she's wrote 1,000 songs. Probably. You never heard of the 1,000 songs, but she's written over, you know, probably over 1,000 songs. There's a famous or infamous, whatever you want to say, story about her. She started out on this show, and back in the old days, they would have like a musical show where they would have these acts come on. And I don't really see that as much anymore. And maybe there is one out, but I haven't seen it. But they would have almost like the Tonight Show. Yeah. Where they would have, but it would be more musical acts instead of like, you know, famous people. Which some of them were famous or whatever. But anyways, Dolly was on there and she was just like, they called her the girl singer. Like she really didn't even have a title. Yeah. It was just the girl singer. And the name of the show was the Porter Wagner. Porter Wagner was a country music singer. And he had his own show. Well, Dolly was there. She's the girl singer. And so anyways, to make a long story short, she had done so much for Porter Wagner. Like he was very like loose with his money. He would buy girls like jewelry, and he bought an orchard and just like random stuff. Right. But and he treated Dolly really, really bad. Like in the long run, he really treated her bad. Yeah. She loaned him, I think she sold her I don't want to get the story mixed up, but somehow to the effect, like she had her song catalog. You know how the famous singers have their own catalog, right? And it's for sale. I think Michael Jackson's. Somebody finally got that sold or whatever. It went for millions of dollars. So you own the rights to those songs, and she sold it. And no, she had to buy. I'm sorry, she had to buy it from him. Okay, so that's where he spent all this money from. Yeah, and then he was bankrupt. Like he went bankrupt. He was like almost like distraught. And she basically like wrote him a check and was like, "Here, you can have it all. You know, like whatever. That the money's back yours." She never once was like, you know, no, you did this to me, and she held a grudge, anything like that. And it was such an amazing. He's the prime and sole reason why she wrote the song "I Will Always Love You." Do you know that song? So she wrote the song because she was going to leave the show, and to do her own thing. And at that time, that was unheard of. You don't leave a show, So she's like, I have a way to make the transition. Like, I'll ease the pain me leaving. So she wrote the song, I Will Always Love You. And basically, that was her promise to him that she would always love him no matter what he did to her. Mm-hmm. And in the end, she was there when he was like, he's at the end of his life. He's on his deathbed. She was there the whole time. Yeah. And after he treated her so badly. So I was like, oh my gosh, like she's I've seen things, memes and shirts that say, be like Dolly. Mm-hmm. And that was such a cool, like, I don't know. It's something I'll never forget. That story about that is just so like you realize you're like, man, am I that kind of person? Yeah. I mean, it's more like, that's the way we should all live. Like, no matter what happens to us, we should all just keep that, like, you put it on, you don't put it up ahead of you. Mm-hmm. You can put it behind you and you just keep going. Yeah. And that's exactly what she did. Stitching Heifers is your one-stop shop for embroidered and printed hats, custom patch hats, and trending graphic tees that can be fully customized for you, your company, or your next big event. Whether you need a single design or a whole company's worth of branded gear, they've got you covered. Come see us at 110 Bushnell Plaza in Bushnell. Shop in-store or browse online anytime at thestitchingheifers.com.
Pat's Taps at Catfish Johnny's. Pat's Taps is Lake Panasoffke's only craft beer tap room, offering 12 rotating craft beers on tap. We also offer bottled domestic beer, seltzers, ciders, and wine, as well as a variety of appetizers and pub food. Our family-friendly tap room is a great place to hang out and enjoy some one-of-a-kind craft beer. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or the Untapped app.
Whether your water is supplied by a public municipality or a private well, for residential or commercial use, Purified Water Services LLC has the solutions to provide you with simply clean water. We offer a complete line of professional water filtration equipment and accessories. Soft water makes a difference you can see and feel. Water heater and appliances last longer with less maintenance. Iron and H2S filters eliminate iron stains and offensive rotten egg odors and protects your water softener equipment from iron fouling. No matter what your problem is, Purified Water Services LLC has a solution. Contact Kenny Williams at 352-446-2709. If you're looking for real fun and adrenaline in Central Florida, head out to Bushnell Motorsports Park. It's a real outdoor go-karting track in Bushnell with high-speed rental karts that anyone can drive, no experience needed. You show up, they get you geared up, and you're racing. It's a great day to go out with friends, a great date, a great way to spend an afternoon. The high-speed karts are available to anyone 16 and older, and the junior karts are for anyone 10 and older. It's also one of the top spots in the area for corporate events and private parties, birthdays, bachelor parties, team building days, and company outings. They handle the whole thing. Track time, meeting room, trophies, the whole works. To learn more or to plan your race, visit BushnellMotorsportsPark.com. That's BushnellMotorsportsPark.com. If you want an energy drink that tastes like a reward, check out Big B Energy Drinks. 3 delicious flavors: strawberry smash, white cherry fizz, and summer melon. Super refreshing, super smooth. It hits the caffeine sweet spot, 80 milligrams per can, made for the people who want something more than soda, but don't need the 300 milligrams energy drink full of jitters. It has a smooth onset with no crash at the end. And the best part, no artificial colors. It's the kind of energy drink that you grab on the way to work, before the gym, or anytime you need to lock in and get something done. Take a sip, thoughtfully crafted, masterfully mixed. You can order online at BigBEnergy.com. Use promo code GOBLAY10 to save 10% at checkout. CY Western Company is located in Bushnell, Florida. It's a great place for boots, clothing, gifts, and accessories for the whole family. They are a family-owned and operated business that opened in 2008. They offer free gift bagging and layaway services, and also a 10% discount for 4-H and FFA members with proof of membership. Be sure to like them on Facebook, where customers can stay updated on sales and giveaways. You can find them next to Lowry's True Value Hardware in Bushnell, open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, and Saturdays, 9 to 5. Be sure to check out CY Western Company.
Catfish Johnny's restaurant, serving at Lake Panasoffkee and surrounding areas since 1990. For the last 34 years, we have strived to serve great food at good prices and a friendly, casual atmosphere. If seafood isn't your thing, our wings and burgers are the best around. We have our daily specials too. We are open Wednesday through Saturday. Check us out on Facebook or Instagram for more information.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's just that selflessness, because
Yes.
she could have been selfish. She could have kept that.
Oh my gosh, she could have been like,
he could have been bankrupt.
yeah, she could have been like, I told you, sucker.
And it does feel good to be like that sometimes, like selfishly, but to be selfless, it feels even greater because you know that you're affecting other people positively, and just overall, that's just the better thing to do. So in the long run, that feels better overall. So
what is something that you learned in your short life, I'll say, and what is something that you've learned that you could possibly tell somebody like, hey, this is what I not struggle with, but this is something that I learned, and I have this almost like, how people keep Post-it notes on their like mirror or whatever. What is something that you try to apply to your life daily?
So something we were talking about a little bit earlier was like everything happens for a reason. So this past year, like I went through a really rough time. Like I was dealing with friends, like not knowing where I fit in and all that. And so through having that purpose and that just saying in my mind, everything happens for a reason, like I knew everything would work out in the long end. So for my passion, like I was dealing with that negative energy and that negative environment just throughout school and all that. And I truly learned that like social status doesn't matter, because I am serving as Miss Capital City's teen. Like I am doing a lot through the pageant world. So that's a high social status. But also I was a cheerleader and I was doing all those things. Like a lot of people knew my name. Like I don't want to say I was popular, but that's just how it was at school. And from that, I learned that it doesn't matter, because when you're in like that popular environment, like all you're doing is fighting for who's most popular, especially like to high schoolers. Like you're just fighting for who's the best. And because I stopped cheerleading because I did want to focus on my photography for football and all that, but I stopped cheerleading halfway because of that negative environment and that fighting for who's best. And so once I removed myself from that and I found people that focus on themselves and fighting for the best version of themselves rather than other people, I truly saw, like, I was like, whoa, what? Who even was I? Like, I was worried about homecoming queen and all that stuff, and I wasn't focused on myself. Like, now my goals aren't become homecoming queen. It's to become, I want to be on ESPN, like all these things. And so I truly found my two best friends this year. They're both D1 softball athletes, and they're both going to these, like, all they care about, well, not all they care about, but they focus on themselves and bettering their softball, and they practice every day and all these things. And being friends with an athlete, like, truly changes your mind on life. And the sports world, just that hard work and that determination and using that negative energy as fuel to push yourself to be better. And so overall, I just learned that from my bad experiences, like, that taught me, and it really opened my eyes overall, that it doesn't matter who's the most popular. It doesn't matter who's the cheer captain. It matters who you become. Like, I know there's a quote from Maya Angelou, like, people don't remember what you did. They remember how you made them feel. And so that's truly just like the impact that I want to have on people, is like making them feel better about themselves rather than tearing them down. Because if you're focused on, I want to be the most popular, you're tearing someone else down. And if everyone just kind of focused on themselves and their passions, like, you would never really have that problem. But especially in high school, like, that social status is a big deal. So once you get out of it, it's so eye-opening, and just to understand that.
So a couple things. I'll piggyback on those. High school it's a weird time.
Yes.
Because, and I remember, don't get me wrong, I loved my high school years. I loved it.
Right.
You're still trying to figure out who you are. When I was a substitute teacher, my favorite, schools, it was actually middle school, because you're trying to figure out. It reminded me of myself so much. You see these kids, and they're trying to fit in, and I was always trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I dealt with things.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I did not have a horrible childhood. That's sometimes I'm like I had to work a 9 to 5 job after school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, whatever. it was just the way I dealt with things.
Mm-hmm.
I still do that.
Yeah.
I try to be likable.
Yeah.
And it's so hard because you have to realize that you're not going to please everybody.
Yeah.
And that's a feat itself. When you realize that yourself, you're like, oh my gosh, what was I doing? Like, I don't even remember. But high school, there's nothing wrong with wanting to do everything.
Right.
Because you're still young and you're like, whatever. But you have this mentality like, hey, I've only got a certain amount of time here. But it's one of those things where you try to, you're going through all these different scenarios, and you got different like homecoming queen, or homecoming king, or prom queen, or prom king. Senior superlatives. I didn't get a senior superlative because I didn't know if I was going to graduate. That's what I was told. That's what I was told. Lily, that's what I'm saying. That's why I find it so important. I am such an advocate for school now because I did not take it serious.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have. I really did, because it doesn't take any, there's no no skill for that. Just to go, that's something I really wish I should maybe pay more attention to. It's effort. Effort doesn't cost anything.
Honestly.
It's something everybody has. And I just wish I would have put a little bit more effort. But I remember going, how come I didn't get a senior superlative? That was that was at the top. That was, and I was literally told, well, we didn't know if you were going to graduate. And how crazy would that be if you didn't graduate?
Yeah, you're in the yearbook.
Senior superlative. And I understood that, but I was heartbroken. I was like, oh my gosh, this is, but at the time, now I'm like, okay, that was my fault. But back then that was that was the top of the world. That was, so you do realize your priorities when what do you need to do to make things better or whatever as you get older.
Yeah.
But as far as early, doing it earlier than everybody else, that's great. But you're eventually going to have to do that yourself. And some take longer. Yeah. Myself included. But some people are meant to just be like they say, there's leaders and followers. Some people are meant to just go ahead and lead, or they know what they want to do and they go for it. Yeah. There's still people like there's some people like myself. I'm 44 years old. I still don't know what I want to do. Yeah. But that's my point. If you know what you want to do in your life, go for it.
Yeah. I think I got so lucky starting my sports photography because that was just a gateway, even just a little bit, just dipping my toes in the water, seeing that sports world, oh, this is where I want to be. Just the other day, someone asked me if you could have any job in the world. It was for one of my dual enrollment college classes. It was, if you could have any job in the world, by the snap of a finger, what would it be? And I said I wanted to be a famous NFL football player. So I want to be in the sports world, right? And even though I'm not built to be an NFL player, I found my pathway into that world and that lifestyle. And I got so lucky because without that sports photography and stuff, I wouldn't know what I would want to be. I was like, do I want to be a lawyer? Do I want to be a doctor? I had no clue what I wanted to be. But with that, passion that I had for sports, I truly found. And now I have, a clear, they always say, 5-year plan. I got it to the T of what I want to do and, where I want to go and all these things. And so I'm just very excited and very lucky, blessed that I found my passion, and that's what I want to do in the future. So hopefully my mind doesn't change anytime soon, because even how I was saying with that minor league game, dipping my toes in the water of a real professional setting rather than high school sidelines, it's a big deal. So I'm ready for it, and I'm very excited for that. So,
well, anything you do that you feel is worth doing, you're going to have to start at the bottom. Yeah. And I'm not saying that the minor league is the bottom, but I'm saying that's a start. Yeah. That's your starting point. You can't want to, or you can't tell somebody, I want to be an NFL photographer and just show up to the Bucs game on Sunday. Yeah. That's not how it works. You have to do your time. You have to. You may go 10 years before you even see a field. Yeah. But that's what keeps you motivated. That's the grind. That's what keeps you on task. Yes. And I mean, that's what you're used to. That's what school's about.
Yeah.
I mean, the ultimate goal is to graduate.
Right.
Correct? So when you graduate, what are you doing before then? You're preparing yourself. So it's the same thing as getting a job or your career. You can't just go, and that's one of the hardest it's a big misconception for college students. When they graduate, they go, well, I should be making $300,000 a year. That's not how it works. You can't go and just, you owe me a job.
Yeah.
You have to go through the process. You have to start off small and do things. Even teachers, yes, they have a teaching certificate, but what do they do before that? They go and do an internship, or they do this, or they do that. They go and be a substitute teacher. Why would you go to college, get all that training and certification, and you get into a classroom and you go, oh my God, there are kids here.
Yeah.
That's happened, right? That's happened so many times. It's like, where were you at on page 1?
Yeah.
Where it says, kids come in your classroom.
Right.
You are a teacher. You're not a welding teacher.
Right.
You are a elementary. Your degree is elementary education. What are you thinking?
Right. Yeah. Honestly, one thing that you said though was like having that experience and having that stuff. So in my perspective, like I want to pursue a journalism degree with like a specification in sports. And so through that, like the things that I've learned, like from my research, and because I'm always researching, how do I do this? Like, what do I need to do to be in this position? And they say like for other colleges and like different aspects at the universities, like you have to have high grades, high SAT. Like you need to be, if you want to be a doctor, like you got to be smart, you got to have those things. And those are your checklist to get into those universities and those degrees. But for sports journalism, like what they say is like your checklist is your portfolio. Like the bigger your portfolio is, like the more likely you're going to be able to get in there. And it's honestly the same for the Miss America program. Like your portfolio is what gets you that trust and knowing that they can take you, because being Miss Florida, being Miss America, it's a job. You spend that year on a contract, like it's a job. And so you have to have, like how we were saying, like that portfolio of steps. So once you get your local title, mine is Miss Capital Cities Teen, you spend your time like building your portfolio, like proving to everyone, like you can trust me as your Miss Florida. And because you're going to have to prove that when I'm Miss Florida, I'm not just going to be like, like you're going to spend that time working and you're going to be doing all these things and building your portfolio for Miss America, and then from there just keep working harder at it. And honestly, yeah, those are the things. Even Miss America and sports journalism, like the portfolio.
I also want you to know that it's entirely okay to change your mind.
Yeah.
Don't think that's not a possibility. I know someone who went to school, and during her college career, she changed her major like 5 times.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because she ultimately found out what she wanted to do. And so that's what I stress to everybody, all the, young students or student athletes when they go and, when they go to this, it's overwhelming. You've got so much you've got to do.
Right.
And they always say, well, just enjoy the moment. Well, it's hard because you've got so much stuff to do and you don't know where to start. It's almost like, you buy a sofa from IKEA and they give you like one little screw thing.
Right.
Like, hey, have that. And you're like, without instructions.
Right.
You're like, whoa, I don't even know where to start. Like, how do you do this? But you also don't feel bad don't be afraid to ask for help is what I'm saying. Networking is great.
Yes.
Networking is where it's at.
Yeah, that's what's gotten me so far, honestly, learning those skills of networking, because like with that minor league game, I also did a UFL game. I don't know if you saw those pictures.
I did.
But I went to the UFL Orlando Storm versus the DC Defenders game, and all I did was reach out to the directive coordinator, the communications director. All I did was reach out, and from there, he introduced me to everyone. Like, I got to be in the post-game conference. I asked the DC Defenders coach a question. I asked the Orlando Storms coach a question. I asked the star quarterback a question. Like, it was just networking, being able to be there. And I got to meet this UCF. He works he's studying at UCF, journalism major, all those things. Like, he's going to be a communications director in the future. And he followed me around. Like, his job for the day was to follow me around and make sure I wasn't walking onto the field. And so it was just such a cool experience, and being able to meet all these new people, and I got to shake hands and all these things. It was just, networking has gotten me so far. And even in Sumter County, just being able, like through the fair, like I show hogs and stuff, like you have to network if you want someone to buy your hog, because you have to get buyers and you have to have sponsorships and just overall. And through like 4-H and the pageant system, like that's what taught me networking, and through that.
Yeah.
And so overall, like that's just going to push me to the future. And another thing that's really cool about the Miss America organization is that there's girls like me with local titles in every state. So there's 36 girls in the teen division just in Florida, but in Oklahoma, there's probably 47. Like, there are so many girls that are competing and have the same passions that you can find someone else with the same, like, other specific passion. Like, just the other day, I reached out to this girl who, she works for Ole Miss Sports, and she's a sports broadcaster for Ole Miss, and she goes to college there, and I'm like, that is what I want to be. Like, I want to be the Alabama sports broadcaster, like all these things. So I reached out to her. All I did was followed her on Instagram, sent her a little DM, and she sent me a huge paragraph just like explaining how she got her start. Like, I told her, like, what are the do's and don'ts? Like, how do I get to where you are, but in my own world kind of thing. Like, not following her exact step list, but just her personal opinion on it. And she told me, like, just start, like how we were saying, like, build your portfolio, like, do every little thing. Like, as soon as you get to college, like, just reach out to people, reach out to your, like, the daily newsletter. Like, colleges have so many newsletters, and just write sports articles. And thankfully, in Sumter County, I'm lucky enough to be able to do that for South Sumter. And I'm planning to write weekly articles about our football team, and I might even be writing some for Wildwood. And just starting that and building that portfolio, because even those little things, like even writing a 400 word little essay about a South Sumter Friday night football game, like, that's building me to be writing about the Dallas Cowboys. Like, it's just building that experience and networking and meeting all these people. So without reaching out to her, like, I wouldn't know these kind of things. Like, it just gives you a little basis. So being able to network and being able to have other people around you that can help you is so beneficial.
And, you know, we're talking about networking. When I worked at Disney, I originally wanted to go and be a chef. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do culinary. Right. And so that was my passion. Now, I loved to cook. And, but then it's kind of like going back to the elementary education thing. I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'd be cooking all day. Yeah. What am I going to do when I get home? I don't want to cook. That's the last thing I want to do. But just to get the ball rolling, I was inquiring about who I need to talk to. Yeah. Because I was in entertainment, and we don't cook. Right. So my manager at the time, Bob Crummett, shout out to Bob, best manager ever. Bob got me in contact, and I can't remember the young lady's name because it's been 20-something years. But anyways, he's like, I know a friend of mine, and this was at the time. I don't even think it was downtown Disney yet. It was still the little vacation spot. So he set up this sit down, and I met with this lady who was a chef, and super nice, super professional, but the thing that turned me off was you got to go to fast food. And my first job was I worked at McDonald's. Right. And so I had a year of, under my belt. And at the time I felt like that wouldn't suffice. Yeah. That wouldn't be, I didn't want to do that. Now, if I really wanted to be a chef, I would have done that. Right. So that also deters you when you finally get your road paved on where you need to go. That's what will deter you or where you're going to go. Are we still on this journey? Yeah. Are we going on another journey? Because I guess I'll teach you this. Humility is great. It's a great thing. Everybody needs to have humility. Yeah. Sometimes you think you're way up here and you're not that high. You need to be down here. And so I thought, I'm at Disney. This is what I want to do, and it's the creme de la creme of chefs, and there's so many different places you could go, And then I realized I had to go back down here, and I wasn't ready for that. I was ready to go, hey, I think about it now, and I go, wow, I had no experience except for a year of fast food. But at the time, this was something that I was like, almost like heartbroken. Like, well, I guess that dream's gone.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, then I started realizing, like, I don't want to cook every day.
Yeah.
You know, so you just start taking on these cons, and there's a couple pros, but more cons.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you know what? Is it really worth it?
Right. Honestly, I felt a little bit that way. Well, I didn't feel in the negative aspect. I felt the other way around. So at that UFL game, it was like about 12 a.m. Like we had just hit midnight. I was in Orlando still. Like that's an hour drive home still. And we had just finished the post-game conference. I'm saying thank you to the communications director. Like it was a huge deal. Like he didn't have to bring a 16-year-old girl onto a UFL football field to take pictures, right? Like it was a huge deal. We got free seats at the game, all these things. And so talking to him afterwards, he was like, so what'd you think? Like all these things. I was like, thank you so much. And he was like, we're still not done. Like there's a few more hours put into this. Like I'm like, it's midnight. What do you mean? They're still not done. So he was like, are you sure you're ready for this? Like, is this the world you want to be in? And I'm like, yeah, like I'll stay awake. Like, please sign me up for this. So I'm very glad to have that experience, because if I didn't have this experience now when I'm fine with staying up at 12 a.m., like if I was in college and I'm like, what do you mean? Like 2 a.m. nights every night after a football game, just writing and editing and taking pictures and cleaning up. Like, this is the boring part. Like, this isn't the meat of it. I feel like I would have been a little taken back, and it might have affected me more. But having that experience now and, like, knowing, like, this is all that goes into it, and not just knowing, I'm on the sidelines at NFL, like, knowing now that there's so much more to it, and still being in my passion, like, still being okay with that and wanting that life. Like, being in that world, knowing that having that experience now is going to help me so much in the future. And speaking of, like, being in that world, like, it's such a male-dominated world, especially in the sports. Like, I know there's up-and-coming female sports and professional sports. Like, I was just watching the Professional Softball League just the other day. But it's such a male-dominated world, especially in, like, broadcasting and sports journalism. Mm-hmm. So it's very hard to be in that world. And especially with how young I am right now, like, there's no way I can compete with some of these other people. But honestly, it's not all just talent. Like, even though I think that my photos are pretty good, like, there's some crazy people with, like, $1 million cameras and stuff. Like, our photo levels are completely different. And so having the experience that I have, like, through pageants and through 4-H and, like, learning how to network and learning how to communicate, like, I feel like sometimes when I speak to an adult, they're kind of taken aback. They're like, oh, like, you know how to talk to an adult and you know how to shake hands. And just from that, like, having those life skills help you get so far. Because honestly, I'm a 16-year-old high schooler. Like, I have no reason being on that field. But because I know how to write an email and I know how to speak to people, like, I got so far. And honestly, if I was shy and nervous that day and I didn't, like, introduce myself and get to know the communications director, because he did so much more for me than any other of the media people there. Because there were a lot of people requesting media passes that day. There were so many kids on the sideline. Like, I saw a few other, like, maybe high school age boys taking their photos, but I got to be at the post-game conference. Like, that was such a big deal to me, because there's sports, like, newspapers and all these people. There's, like, about 8 guys in this little 12-chair thing, and I'm just sitting there with my little questions of, like, hey, so what motivates you? Like, that's what I was asking them, and I was like, what's your favorite part about all this sports stuff? Like, just a little girl sitting there. Like, I just got such a great experience. But without having those life skills that I have, I wouldn't have been there at all, because I would have just been taking my pictures and you would have been like, hey, have a great day kind of thing. But because of those life skills, they got me so much further rather than just, like, the bare minimum there.
I'm going to teach you a little secret. Mm-hmm. If you act like you know what you're doing, people believe you.
Yes.
And that I'm telling you, that goes a long way.
Yes.
So you need to be confident, and I'm glad you are, because that you can't show fear.
Right.
But going back to what you said about, like, you taking your pictures, just like sports and a job, It's about repetition.
Yes.
These people that are about to retire, they could do whatever job they want to do blindfolded.
Right.
And why is that? Because they've done it for 30-something years.
Right.
So we can't expect someone who's, and what I'm saying is, like, you got to continue to keep that repetition, keep shooting. You'll have to you'll take a million photos before you actually think that you actually have what it takes.
Right.
And when you do that, what is something that you, in your head, I want you to remember this, what is something that makes you different? What makes Lily's picture stand out?
Right.
Because you have to add, and I mean this in a sincere way. I'm not trying to be facetious about it, but anybody can take a picture.
Right.
They really can.
Right.
My 5-year-old nephew can take a picture.
Right.
Is the picture good?
Yeah.
What's the picture about? Are you trying to tell the story? Because people don't realize pictures are a story.
Yeah.
It's a frozen second in time.
Yeah.
Where you go, oh, and if you look at a picture, you go, oh, somebody's always got to say something like, oh yeah, I remember that we were at,
yes,
we were at so and so's house and this guy was crazy and
yes,
and then I don't remember them being there. Like, who is that?
Who is that? Yeah.
I did that with photography and for weddings, videography too.
Yeah,
like I would actually go to the couple's home and we would watch it. Because I wanted to know what they thought.
Yeah.
And they would go, oh my gosh, I didn't see Jerry there. And you're just like, and that made me feel good because they knew Jerry was there.
Yeah.
He may have sent him a gift, but they didn't even know he was there.
Yeah.
And I was like, poor Jerry. Like, they didn't even say hi to him. Like,
right.
But it was so crazy that they had no idea that he was even there. So what makes you different is going to be, people take different as bad.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm different. I'm weird.
Yeah.
People that say that, right? I know people. I've said that myself. No, I'm not like somebody else.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Right.
If we were all like each other, all the same, we said this a couple times, cookie cutter.
Yep.
How boring is that?
Yeah.
You have to stand out and do your own thing.
No, honestly. A few things from that. That was a lot to take in, and I was thinking so much. I was like, oh, I want to say this. Oh, I want to say this. But honestly, taking photos is such an adrenaline rush. Like, that's what I get out of it. Like, every time I get a good photo, I'm like, oh my gosh. And if I'm on the sidelines, like, I'm like showing everyone, I'm like, look at this picture. Like, do you see this?
Show it off.
Yes. And I just love it. Like, even if they don't care about the photo, like, I'm just so excited about this picture. And it could be like a mid picture, and I'm just so excited about it every time. And there's also a difference in when you're taking photos for yourself and when you're taking photos of, like, for other people. And that's what I've noticed, especially like at that UFL game. I didn't know any of the players. Like, I was just taking photos like for myself and like just to be there and just to take good photos. But then when I'm at the high school games, like, I'm like, oh, like, let me highlight this player. Like, I'm getting photos of them and making sure that they like look their best and all these things. And so overall, just that. And like how you were saying with they didn't know Jerry was there, like being in that moment, like being able to capture that moment is so special because in a few years, these players are going to look back, and I do the same thing when I look at my old photos. I'm like, oh, that was the day we played Wildwood and we beat them by da-da-da. Like, it's just you can literally capture the energy in a photo, and it's just so awesome. Like, that's my favorite part about it is being able to look back and being like, oh my gosh, like that's what was happening in that photo. Like, I got the craziest photo at that last game in Hernando, and it was when Nolan, he forced the fumble and then Barrett comes and picks it up. Like, I got the whole thing in a series of photos. Like, the picture of Nolan is crazy. He's tackling the kid, and that's like what's focused on, and then you can see the football flying. Like, it's perfect middle. It's just flying at the camera, and it was just the coolest moment, and it's like the football's in the foreground and it's just blurred out, and it was crazy. And then a few seconds later, you see Barrett and he's like flying in the air. His legs are all twisted because he's getting that fumble, and it was just a great moment. Like, maybe someone who doesn't know South Sumter football didn't watch the game. They don't know what was happening. Like, you can see that there's a tackle happening. You can see something exciting's happening. But to like Nolan and Barrett, like, oh my gosh, that was my senior season. Like, that was our first spring game of our senior season, and I fumbled that force that fumble. Like, that's such a big accomplishment for them. And I got to be able to capture it. And it was awesome for me. Like, it's such a cool photo. Like, it's just great. So,
well, you know, I was going to say, if going back to your pictures and stuff, and I you could probably attest to this because I do the same thing with the podcast. Go back to your first couple pictures you took.
Yeah.
You know what I'm about to say.
Yep.
Go back to those first couple and then look at what you do now and look at the growth.
Yeah.
That's growth. That's what you need to do.
Yes.
Now, if your pictures look the same as you did the first time, then you're not growing.
Right. Exactly.
That grass is dead.
Yes. And another thing is thinking about that, because that reminded me of something I was going to say earlier. From when I first started taking photos versus now, capturing that emotion. Like, when I first started taking photos, it was almost more of like, I was taking photos for, like, when I began, I was kind of taking photos for the player. And it was more or less just like the back of their jerseys. Like, I started with baseball, and it was just them at the plate, you know, swinging the bat. And that's a cool photo. They can make that their wallpaper, but you're not gaining anything from that photo. Like, you see that in real life kind of thing.
Right.
But with a camera, like, I got a pretty zoomed in lens. Like, I can see their faces. Like, why am I not capturing those extra moments? And even though one of my favorite pictures that I've ever taken is a baseball photo where they're standing at the plate, it's because it was such a beautiful sunset that day, and we had such a good win. We won 13-3 against Umatilla. It was at South Sumter. It was not this past season, but it was the season before. Like, it was a great game, and the sunset was so pretty, and it's like pink and purple in the background, and they're just at the plate, you know. It's like one of my favorite pictures, but and just from that, like, capturing emotion rather than something that you can see every day is something that I've noticed. And also that kind of ties into when I was at that UFL game and I was at that post-game conference. The thing is, when the other people were asking questions, like, they were asking specifically about stats and, like, do you remember this play? And it was like, over the season, you've had a great offense and all these things. And, like, those are important questions. Like, it's things you want to see, but it's nothing that the audience didn't see on TV. Like, they saw that tackle. They can watch the highlights. But the questions that I asked, even though they may not have been the most stat heavy, it was, I asked the Orlando coach, I asked him, because he used to coach for the St. Louis Battlehawks.
I was just about to say, why?
He used to coach for the St. Louis Battlehawks. Yes, I know. That's what I was realizing there. But I asked him, like, how has coaching for the Orlando Storm, like, changed his perspective on football as a whole? And, like, I wanted to know, like, the meat of it, like, something that people aren't going to see every day. And I even asked the quarterback, I asked him, like, what motivates him each snap? Like, because that's something, like how we talked about way earlier, like, being that role model. He's a quarterback that little boys are looking up to. Like, what's motivating him that can motivate someone else? And, like, how is the Orlando Storm, like, how is their team, like, what is their team doing that's going to help them win their national championship? Like, what's the environment of their team? Like, I wanted to know, like, stuff that nobody else would see unless you asked. And that's the same with photos, like, stuff that nobody else can just see on TV, like, seeing their face, seeing that emotion, like, seeing the celebration and all that stuff that commonly gets, like, cut out on the clips. Like, if you're watching NFL, you don't see them. You see a little bit of them start to dance, and then you don't see the rest of their little celebration after they get a good touchdown. And that's the stuff that I like to capture, like, the excitement that these players have in their photos. Like, there's so much practice and determination that goes into sports, and it all comes out on the field. And all those hard works and those hours, those blood, sweat, and tears, like, it's all built up in practice, and it comes out on the field. And being able to capture that on the field is where the adrenaline rush comes in, honestly.
Thanks for watching part 1 of this 2-part podcast. Check out full episodes on YouTube and Spotify.